I'm Al Lowe, Lowe. I'm a game designer. I was published by Sierra Online for 16 years. I was a jazz saxophone player and a musician. I was a music major in college. When I got out of college, I knew that you couldn't make money playing music, and so I became a music teacher. And I taught public school music for 15 years until I realized I was at the top of the salary schedule and I had no room for advancement, and I had 20 more years before retirement. So what am I going to do for 20 years? And I was always interested in computers. And with a background like school administration and band directing and music and jazz, what else was I suited to do? What else could I do but design games? So, when I started in computers, I drew the graphics, I wrote the music, I wrote the text, I designed the games, I did everything. I designed the packaging. And as I got better and better, I did less and less. Until finally, at the end, I did almost nothing. So my real strength was not in programming as much as it was in coming up with humor and in writing the text and making the games interesting. So as I went along, I became much more of a designer and writer than a programmer. I haven't programmed in a number of years now. So my friend Ken Williams owned the company. When it was time to do a new project, I would go to lunch with him, and he'd say, "What do you want to do next?" And I would say, "Well, how about this?" And he'd say, "Okay." The company had a marketing department at that time. It was the owner's little brother. He had graduated from high school and needed a job, and so they said, "Well, can you design a box or something?" And he said, "Well, sure, yeah." And so he designed that. John Williams was the marketing department. I mean, he was a genius. Don't get me wrong; he was wonderful at it. But that's how things were then. It was a much more casual time, much more simple. The games appear to be, on the surface, to be very sexist and very misogynistic, and yet the more you learn about them, the more you learn that it's really a game against men, where the women come out on top because the women are always brighter. They're always more successful. They're always superior to Larry. Larry's this horrible putz that that can't do anything right. To me, if he really was a successful ladies' man, well, that wouldn't be very funny. The fun was in the women always getting the better of him. I kind of made fun of adventure games and of the character himself, and so yeah, we did set up funny situations. That's the truth. And one of my biggest jobs was to figure out how I could humiliate this poor guy the next time. I would come up with big lists of things that I could do that would be embarrassing to him or humiliating, and that was part of the fun. And so if you have ever played a Leisure Suit Larry game, then you kind of know me, because that's kind of the way I am. I saved my Larry bucks and invested them wisely, I guess. So yeah, you could say that Larry was very good to me. When I retired, I started a website, and it's just allowe.com, ALLOWE.com. And you can flash that across the bottom of the screen right now. And when I started the website, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. I just knew I had a lot of humor that I wanted to share with people. And so I just started giving it away. And what I found was that when I gave it away, I got much more back in return. And people now send me humor all the time, every day, and that's what I do. I post it on my website, so there's just a lot of humor there. And I think the strong thing about my site is that I don't post everything that I get. And what I do is I throw away 99% of it and keep 1%. So if you go there, the stuff that you find will be good. Whenever Leisure Suit Larry is in Finland, he watches Ooms.